Hi everyone, my name is Dayakor. I'm a student of Federation University. I'm doing a subject which is a contemporary challenges for IT management. Code is ITEC 6207. The topic which I'm going to present today is the disaster recovery. First of all, what is disaster recovery? The definition of disaster is any accidental or intentional event that causes significant alterations in the functioning of a company. Each company faces its own unique set of threats and corresponding risks. These threats and risks depend on the nature of the products and the services. In the initial analysis of the possible disaster risks should be reviewed to the process by which you resume the business after disruptive event. Disaster recovery is the process by which you resume the business after the disaster recovery event. Every business should have a disaster recovery plan for data access and the duplication of computer operations after the disaster. Best practices of the disaster recovery planning involves routine backups. There should be routine backups all the time so that if any disaster occurs, there should be a proper way we can recover the data which is lost during the disaster. Best practices for the disaster recovery involves the routine backups, off-site recovery processes, and information vital to new locations. By using this approach, we can access the data. We can get the backup from the through the recovery plan, where the data gets lost. In any case of fire, earthquakes, etc. There are two broad categories of the disaster. The first one is a natural disaster, and the second one is a man-made disaster. The natural disasters could be earthquakes, fires, floods, etc. While preventing a natural disaster, it is difficult to measure, such as good planning involves. Good planning, which includes the mitigation measures, helps to reduce the loss. Again, proper recovery plan is needed. From the natural disaster, to save the data from the natural disaster, proper planning is required. How to get a data shouldn't be stored in only one place. If it is stored at one place, so there should be a plan how to recover that one. Another category is man-made disaster. Man-made could be in the form of terrorism, hazardous materials, or could be spilled over the floor, or the company's infrastructure, or we can say the poor infrastructure of the company. If these things happen, if this kind of disaster happens, we can access the data if the data is stored on the safely in the computers or anywhere where we can get the data. In the case of monitoring and monitoring and mitigation planning is invaluable to avoid the losses. There are a few merits and demerits of the disaster recovery. To get the data, to get the backup, I think it costs lots of money to get the backup, because lots of efforts required as well. If we need a special things to consider, then to prepare those things, it can cost a lot of money, and of course it's not a daily routine work actually, so it's not always readily available as well. As I told, it takes a lot of efforts as well. It's not worth doing it if it's not properly ready or if the proper training is not given, so it's not worth doing it. Future budgets can be set for the future improvements. Thank you for listening.